And it is time to go ahead and get started. Hey, welcome to At The Track Live. My name is Coach James. I am the creator and lead instructor for All About Aerodynamics. What is All About Aerodynamics? Glad you asked. Even if you didn't ask, All About Aerodynamics is a science program where I use Hot Wheels cars to teach kindergarten through 6th grade students about a range of science and physics related topics, including but not limited to drag, lift, elastic energy, potential energy, kinetic energy, Isaac Newton and his 3 laws of motion. We learn about the scientific method, about just a number of topics. I think there are, when last I counted, probably about 16 different science and physics related topics that we cover. And after we have covered those topics, after we've conducted experiments to drive home those concepts, then and only then do I bring in about 400 different Hot Wheels cars, and each student examines all those cars. They look at the cars, they try to assess which car they think would be fastest in a series of races. And then each student picks a car, the car they think would be fastest based on everything they've learned about aerodynamics and all the other concepts. And then they document information about their cars. They take a picture of their car, they weigh their car, they test the speed of their cars, they check the year the car was manufactured. They take all the information they gather, they put it into a spreadsheet, and then they set up a 1/64 scale quarter-mile drag strip and hold a tournament and drag races. They observe how their car performed. Did their car perform up to or below their expectations? And if they had the choice, would they select that car again? And that's essentially what All About Aerodynamics is. We learn science. We have fun with Hot Wheels cars. What could be better? But this is not all about aerodynamics. This is All About Aerodynamics presents At The Track Live. So what is At The Track Live? At The Track Live is where I get to introduce cars that are going to be a part of the fleet that the students will get to pick from when they participate in the All About Aerodynamics program. So every week I bring in about 6 different cars that I take out of storage, crack those open, take a look at those, take a picture, shoot a short video, and then take that information, enter it into my spreadsheet so that I can keep track of the cars that I'm taking to and from the schools. And since the track is already set up, I figured, why not have a drag race? And that is exactly what we do. We take the 6 cars and we have a little mini tournament, and the winner of that mini tournament then has the opportunity to take on our fastest in fleet car, which is the car that was the champion from the week before. But it's all about aerodynamics. All About Aerodynamics presents At The Track Live. So what's the live part? The live part is where you get to participate. And all you have to do is go to AtTheTrack.live. And when you go to that page, you'll see 3 options. You'll have the YouTube stream link, you'll have the Twitch stream link, which you don't need because you're already here, or you're watching this later on YouTube. But the third option, the third most important, the critical option is choose a car. If you select the choose a car option, you will be taken to this page. And on this page, you will see all of the cars in the All About Aerodynamics At The Track Live fleet listed and cataloged. This is why I'm taking the pictures, because I have to catalog the cars, because there is an online version of All About Aerodynamics, and the students still have to pick a car to race. So what you can do is you can go to AtTheTrack.live, select choose a car, end up on this page, scroll through, look at all of the cars We have fantasy cars, cars based on real cars. We have cars from the 70s, 80s, 90s, and 2000s, of course. And they are all listed here, and I believe the total number of cars that are currently in the fleet as of this morning are 796. There are 795. There are 795 different cars that are cataloged, that are listed here. So if you see a car that you think would be faster than one of the cars that I have pulled out of storage and cracked open and entered into the fleet, then all you have to do is click on the car you want. Let's say you think it is this one, this 70 Camaro Z28. Maybe you say that's the car. I think that car is going to be faster than all the others. All you have to do is take the number of this car, so you can click on it, see the close-up view. The reflection will help you determine if it's metal on plastic, plastic on metal, or sometimes metal on metal if you get the older cars. But once you find the car that you want, each car has a number, in this case 213. You take that number, the 213 in this case, and just drop it into the chat, and then I will pull that car, and then once we pull that car will be entered into today's tournament. If your car beats out the other 5 cars, then it will have a chance to take on our fastest in fleet car. And our fastest in fleet car is the car that has dominated all of the competition to this point. And our fastest in fleet car currently is this one. It is the Gazella R. And the Gazella R has been, it's been our champion, but it has been dominant. It has not had very many, if any, close races. There's been 1 or 2 that have been a little close, but for the most part, the Gazella R has dominated every single car that it has faced, and it has not even been close in recent weeks. So maybe that changes today. We are going to introduce some new cars, and sometimes cars, you have sleeper cars that you don't expect much from that do particularly well. Other times, you can kind of get a feel. And I think that as we have gone on, especially the last few months with the Gazella R and before that the Blitz Speeder, those 2 cars share a lot in common. And so what I always explain to the students is that when we have the races, yes, we're racing the cars. Yes, you want your car to win. But what we're really doing is collecting data and information. And the more races we have, the more information we collect, and then we can start to see trends. And with AtTheTrack.live, we have definitely started to see trends over the last few months because the Blitz Speeder and the Gazella share a lot of features in common. And I even picked up the the Gazella because it reminded me of things about the Blitz Speeder, and it turned out that it was faster than the Blitz Speeder and beat it on that day. And since then, I've noticed that, you know, we've had user picks, and some of the cars that I've selected out of storage have also been, you know, in this same model. And what we've noticed is cars with, it seems that cars with, where's my trusty pointer? Cars with elevated wings that are at or about at the roofline level, that may be a factor in helping them get a good launch and a good push out of our launcher. Cars with flatter back ends tend to do better because they're getting a better launch. But in the case of these cars with the wings are elevated kind of almost just about at the roof line or a little above. They're flat enough on the back to give the cars a good push. The cars don't have much of a standard kind of windshield driver's cockpit area, and it's much more sleek. So when we're talking about the aerodynamics, and the air being able to flow over, under, and around the car, then this design seems to be working pretty well. Now this one has this splitter at the front that apparently is adjustable, and I have left it in this position, which is where it was when I took it out of the pack, which is it's kind of up a little bit. I'm not going to start messing with it until, you know, after the Gazella loses. Then I might conduct some experiments with the with it down. But we are going to see if cars can compete with the Gazella and knock them off. And I see we already have Mustard Jello, what's up? And Rough Shot, how you doing? Okay, so we've got a couple of picks. So let me go back to the car page and see here. So we have 2 picks. Let's see. So Mustard, he picked, this is a classic. It's an all about aerodynamics classic because the students pick this car quite frequently. I'm wondering which one it is. If it's the purple and gold one. So he picked the nerve hammer. So here's one. This is before I started not having duplicates in the fleet. And so there's this one. That's not the one he picked. But there is, if it's the purple and gold one, it is going to be the one that the kids labeled the Kobe car. Let's see. 241. Yep, there it is. I was at the first time it got picked. I was at a school, and I'm here in LA, and so the purple and gold, and the kids just decided to call it the Kobe car. So this has definitely been a popular pick, but also just what I was saying, that when you're looking at the styles and types of cars that have been successful, so if we go to the Blitz Speeder, if we look at the Gazella, now looking at the Nerve Hammer, it's got a very similar profile. And so I don't know how, I've seen this car race, I don't know how it's going to do against the cars we introduced today, but this is a good, solid pick, the Kobe car Nerve Hammer. So that's, 241. So I'll be pulling that in a little bit. And then let's see, Rough Shot, he's going with 169. So let's back up here. 169. Okay, see, very smart picks. Okay, so he's going with this Aston Martin Vulcan, and the same thing. I mean, if you look at this car and you look at the Gazella, very, very similar profiles. This one's got it's got a wider splitter at the front, and the wing is wider than the Gazella, but other than that, it looks pretty similar. You look at the windshield and the driver's area, the cockpit, it's that same kind of smooth, sleek design. This is almost, I would say, if you changed the color and put that smaller wing on it, this would almost be just like the Gazella. Now I think this car is a little bit wider, but we will check that out when I pull it. So 169. So we have two quality picks, and this is, what I do, what I encourage the students to do, is that you see the trends, you see which cars are successful, and with gravity tracks, it's the same thing. When you watch gravity track races on different channels, you see trends, and there are certain cars that perform better because of weight and different things on the gravity track. But because our track is a flat drag track, and there's like different things you want to consider with that, and most importantly, it's that our launcher shoots the cars out with so much force that drag is extremely important. Drag and aerodynamics become extremely important because the faster a car is moving, the more of an impact the air has on the car. So, speaking of the air and having an impact on the car and all of that, I probably first mentioned it a few months ago, but there's a company that was on Kickstarter, and they had this project to make a wind tunnel for Hot Wheels or 1/64 scale cars, and then they're also making it for bigger model cars. But you put your car in there, you turn it on, and then it's just like a wind tunnel. It's not just, it is a wind tunnel, and you see the smoke or the smoke come through and flow over, under, and around the car, so you can really get a sense of the aerodynamics. So I supported their Kickstarter back in August, and then they eventually raised enough money to move forward, so they went forward with the production, and I was keeping up with it. And then I started to see on Instagram a few accounts here and there. I mean, they had thousands and thousands of followers, so maybe they just like, you know, they're trying to get the product in front of people. So I saw people like using it in different accounts, and I'm thinking, where's mine? So I'd go back and check the Kickstarter, and they had information that said that they were, you know, working on different tweaks and getting ready for the big shipment and all that. And then I started to see Instagram posts, and they were, you know, showing the thing in use, and I'm thinking, where is mine? So I went back to the Kickstarter, where they give updates about the product launch. And so I'm reading through, and then it turns out that they said if you ordered it, there was basically there's like an email message in Kickstarter, but the little icon for the email, it doesn't change colors, it doesn't have a little check mark, it doesn't have a number, so you never know that there are new messages in there. And I didn't know to check it, so I checked there. And anyway, back in November, they sent me a message that said, basically when I purchased it, when I supported their Kickstarter, the campaign, if you have an iPhone and you come across something that wants you to put in your email address, there's a hide your email option, so that people can't, you know, sell off your email and you start getting spam. Anyway, they said if you use the hide my email feature, then you had to contact them again so that they could get the correct shipping information. So basically, since late November, they've been waiting for me to confirm my shipping information and give them an email. Problem is, they've been sending me all these newsletters and promotional updates to my email account. So they had my email account, but they never sent me an email saying, hey, we need you to confirm your address. Anyway, long story, a little less long. I completed the form, got my address to them, and now apparently the shipping process is underway, and so I should have that within the next week or two. They're based out of Hong Kong, so with the shipping, I don't know exactly how long it's going to take, but it should be on the way. And like I mentioned before, if you look, now the product is called Winsible, but if you are on Instagram, it's Fun Tech Labs, and you can see the thing that I'm talking about. My concern is, like, it looks like it works, and that's fine. My concern is that they have this solution that you put into the machine that creates the smoke, and it's like a fog, but it's white. But you have to use their special solution. And what I'm afraid of is that that's where they're going to get me. So I already bought the wind tunnel, but how much is it going to cost every time to buy this little bottle of fluid that actually makes the smoke? And so I added an extra one into my purchase, and it cost about $16. I don't know at this point. I don't know how long that lasts. So I'll find out. If you go to their website or their Instagram account and you're thinking about buying it, I would suggest just wait until I get it, because once I get it, I'm going to we'll look at it here. And so with things like the Gazella, and when you people pick cars, we'll actually run them through the wind tunnel and see what we can see. And so save your money until I get mine, and then maybe it might be something that you want to purchase. So, all right, all that out of the way, we're here to race cars and introduce new cars. So I have a bunch of cars that I grabbed out of storage, and I need to check with some of these and see if we already have some of them. So the first one I'm going to grab is, it's this, well, see, the problem is what Roughshod was saying, to find out who makes the liquid smoke and see if it's not available from a third party. They haven't said what it is, and that's sort of the thing. I hopefully someone will figure it out at some point, but they, as far as like the information that they have available so far, they haven't said what it is. And I think in the Kickstarter there was a Discord channel or something, and I remember asking if it was, what was it, something that we could make or whatever, and they were kind of basically said no, but that's probably because they wanted to sell theirs. So hopefully someone smarter than me figures out exactly what it is, and yeah, because it's like when you buy a printer, like the printers are cheap, but they want, you got to come back and buy the ink. So we'll see how it goes, but hopefully it'll be here soon, and I should get a shipping update this week. So the first car that I picked up out of the storage was this Gas Monkey Garage 68 Corvette, and this one I'm gonna check and see, 68 Corvette, because make sure I don't already have one of these in here. 68, we got a 68 Nova, a 68 Camaro, a 68 Dodge Dart. So we're good with this one. It's interesting because, so the Gas, I don't even know if the TV show still comes on, that Gas Monkey Garage, but at the Hot Wheels, it's not a fan fest, I forget what it's called, Legends Tour, the Hot Wheels Legends Tour, they have certain Hot Wheels cars like the Twin Mill that someone made a full-size version of. Well, I guess this is the opposite. I think that the Gas Monkey Garage, they designed this custom Corvette, and then Hot Wheels made it into a car. And here it is, and it's going to be on our track. So let's crack this open and take a look. All right. Let's see here with the weight. Let's turn this off. That's another thing I'm going to need, once I get the wind tunnel, I'm going to have to set up how many cameras? So far there's 5. I'm going to have to set up a 6th camera so that we can see that, and maybe I'll do something so that we can have the wind tunnel view and see the weight. But for right now, this Corvette is 31.8 grams, which is just a little lighter than the Gazella, which is, I believe, 32. The Gazella is 32.3 grams. So let's go ahead and switch the view and take a look at this Gas Monkey Garage Corvette. I will shoot the video as it comes around. And if not for the motor sticking up out of the through the hood, I would think that this car would have a good shot. But when you're talking about racing potentially the Gazella, and with the cars that Roughshod and Mustard picked, the nerve hammer, and that Aston Martin. I don't think there's any margin for error, and I don't think you can have anything on the car that is going to even potentially serve to slow the car down. And at the speeds these cars come out, I think that engine is probably not going to be something that helps this car lessen the drag and stay competitive. Gas Monkey Garage. Okay, 68 Corvette Gas Monkey Garage. Got that. But this car is lighter, and perhaps that'll work in its favor. We will find out. It's not a. Again, I've seen the real one at the Hot Wheels Legends Tour, and it's a good looking car in real life, and this one's not bad. I don't know if the color, the kind of gold, it doesn't really. This one looks a little more muddy than the real life version, but it's still kind of cool nevertheless. But let's go here. All right, line this up, and we have the Gas Monkey Garage. Oh, yeah, that's good. The Gas Monkey Garage 68 Corvette is one of our first entrants today, not counting the other two that I will pull later. So we've got that. Let me check the manufacturing year. That is 2016. So we have and also the back end. The back end of this car is flat, so that's going to help give it a better launch. And drop this in there. 2016. Okay. And what's up next? Let me see here. So we have A to Z. All right, let's see. I pulled out a whole bunch of these cards. All right, I've got this 2018 Bentley Continental GT3, which I have a feeling we have one. I know there's a Bentley in here, but is it a 2018 is the real question. Let's go. We have a 2018 Bugatti Divo, a 2018 Ford Mustang, a 2018 Civic, and 2019. So I guess we don't, but let me scroll down and just look under Bentley. Bentley. I know there's one in here. I see all those Batmobiles listed, but I don't see a Bentley. Really? All right, let me check under 18 to make sure. Okay, I guess it's not in here because I really did think there was one. But anyway, hey, here we go. We've got another one right here, a supercar, a Bentley Continental GT3. So let's crack this open and take a closer look. All right. Feels a little heavy, but I will weigh it and find out for sure. It is heavy. It's 38.8 grams. It is a bigger bodied car. If I can get it on the thing. Let's go ahead and take a look. And this one, another car. Okay, it's got the large wing. The wing's elevated. We've seen, and it seems to be that on our track that's a plus for these cars. So we have that going for it, and with the rest of the style, it's definitely not as sleek as the fantasy cars that it's going to be taking on. It's not even as sleek as that Aston Martin, but we'll find out how it all plays out, and especially with this front end as big as it is, like right here, this whole grill. If you look at that Aston Martin, if you look at the Nerve Hammer, if you look at the Gazella, they all come down. Even that that Corvette, just the way they're shaped, like in the front, you're not going to have a spot, a big flat area where the air is going to kind of build up before it passes over, under, and around the car. But we'll see how it performs. Plus, it's heavier. So that is, I'm not going to say the deck is stacked against it, but of the cars that we have so far, this is not the car that I would pick to win out today. But you never know, which is why we have to race the cars. And let's go ahead and get the shoot this video. I will enter the information into the spreadsheet, and we will have our second car. Technically, it will be our fourth car with the two picks from Mustard and from Roughshod, but we are going to enter this car in, and we're getting closer to 800. That's wild that cataloged over 800 cars almost. This is car number 797. This is the 2018 Bentley Continental GT3. I would have sworn there was, because I know I have one. It's probably just in storage somewhere. It's this same car, except it's green. And I know it's around here somewhere. Oh well, this is the car that made it. So we will find out if it can take out the others. And so it's got that big wing, but if you notice, the wing has those 2 points. So either those 2 points are going to be the only points of contact touching the launcher, or we've had a case where those points are just outside the width of the launching block. So then what ends up happening is the launching block actually sits in between these 2 points and touches this part and pushes up against that. That would be best for this car if these little points were wider than the launching block, and then the launching block sat right here and pressed against this flat part, and then pressed it out, pushed out the car. Because then, again, the more surface area that touches the launching block, I've noticed that cars get a more solid push. When you only have either 2 points or 1 point in the back or a rounded back end of the cars, it's kind of hit or miss which kind of push they get. So we will see. But we've got this heavy Bentley Continental GT3, yeah, and that is our second car. Now, this next car, when I pulled it, I think I pulled it last week, but we didn't have a need for an additional car, so I just dropped it here on the desk. But it is this one, and now I can't remember how to put it. The Citroen. CITROE with a little, what are those, 2 dots over the top and an N. Anyway, it's a Matchbox car, and I was looking at it, and I decided, since I saw the badge up here, I thought, let me look this up. Turns out this is a real car. It's sold only in a few countries in Europe, and it is an electric car, but it is not, I think it's got, it can go a maximum of about 28 miles an hour. And so it's apparently just for if you're living in a city, a very densely packed city. It's faster than public transportation, and it's more covered than if you were on an electric bike. But basically, the speed you're going to top out at is 28 miles an hour. So it's definitely not for actual real world kind of commuting, just very specific situations. And the reviews, it's light. One of the reviewers was talking about it, and he leaned up against it and actually pushed it, and it rolled away. So it's almost like I don't even want to say it's like a golf cart, because it seemed even lighter and smaller than that. But anyway, we have it here, and on our track, it will be going at scale speeds well beyond, well beyond the 27 miles an hour. Yeah, might as well get the golf cart. I think in storage, Hot Wheels made some. There was basically a car, like a hot rodded out golf cart, and I believe that it had a little, like the top of a T on the top, and then you could actually, in theory, if you were good enough, put a golf ball on top and use the Hot Wheels car as a tee. I'm not good enough at golf to do that. Have never played golf at all, other than miniature golf, but whatever. We have the Citroen Ami. And the thing is, I watched the videos so that I could know how to pronounce this, and I don't remember. It's the Citroen AMI. It's either Ami or Ami. We'll call it the Ami. Who knows? It might fly. Yeah, it might fly down. It might fly off the track. It might fly down the track. I have no idea. It's not very aerodynamic. Not aerodynamic, really, at all. But let's crack it open and take a closer look. The Citroen Ami. I'm not even, which is the, oh, that was part of the review. Well, first let me see how much it weighs. It weighs 30.2 grams, so it's going to be our lightest car of the day so far. And let's switch over to this view, check it out. So one of the things that the reviewers pointed out was the manufacturing. The front and the back looked the same. So what happened was, to reduce their manufacturing cost, they made this front section the exact same as the back section, so that they didn't have to have multiple parts. They could basically just have one part that fit both sides of the car, so they didn't have to manufacture a rear end and a front end. They just swapped them out, used both, and the only difference is one in the front has the headlights, and in the back you have the lights in the rear. So let's go ahead and get the still picture while it's sitting here. If this car turns out to be fast, who knows? But it reminds me of the that Minecraft minecart. That car, I had no expectation, based on its design and the shape and all of that it was going to be fast, and it turned out to be pretty fast. It wasn't good enough to win the tournament that day, but it was definitely good enough to surprise me. So let's see here. We've got the Citroen Ami, and get this picture. All right, we've got that, and just need to grab the video of this thing, and this is gonna be an interesting one, if it can stay on the track. That's always the first thing I think about with cars that are really light, is, are they going to be able to stay on the track? Check the year on the Bentley. That was 2020. And this is car number 798. This is the Citroen Ami. And there we go. And once you've seen the front, you've seen the back. So there's not There's not a lot to it, and it is, the back end is flat, and it's a little narrow. It's gonna get a good it's gonna get a good push. It's definitely gonna get a good push, and what happens after it gets that push is anybody's guess. If it can stay on the track, I don't know. I can't wait. This one I'm interested to see, because we've seen smaller cars, light cars fly off the track. We've seen small cars, light cars speed down the track, and I think it will come down to, can it stay straight and not bounce around left, right, and keep bouncing from side to side. If it can get a solid launch and stay straight, it should, I don't know what it should do. Which is why I love racing the cars, because you just never know until you get them on the track. So we have now we have the 68 Corvette, the Gas Monkey Garage Custom Edition. We have the Continental GT and GT3, and we have the Citroen Ami, and we are looking good. Plus, we've got the picks from Roughshod and Mustard. Never-ending adventures beyond. What's up? Glad you're here. If you want to get in on this, you still have time. Anyone else has time. All you have to do is go to AtTheTrack.live, select choose a car. Okay, this Ami is 2021. Select choose a car, and you will be taken to this page. And on this page, you can scroll through, and you can find 795 different cars to choose from. Find the car that you think would be faster than the Citroen Ami, the Bentley GT3, the 68 Corvette, the Nerve Hammer, or the Aston Martin. This is the one that Roughshod picked right here, this Aston Martin. If you think that you can find a car faster than that, all you have to do is scroll through, find the car, then take the number. If you think it's this this old 442 with the donk giant wheels, if for some reason you think that's the car, all you have to do is take the number, in this case 234, drop it in the chat. I will pull that car, and we will hit the track and see if you can beat out these other cars, and ultimately take out the Gazella R, which is going to be hard work. But we've got a good assortment of cars. Let me just drop this 2021. And we need, let's see, 3, 5. We need one more at least to round out today's group. So let me see what I have here. We've got this Koenigsegg Gemera, but I know there's a Koenigsegg in here. I think it's a Jesco, but let's go ahead and check. Don't want to have any duplicates. Okay. Really? Wow. Okay. So maybe I've just, because it's not in here, so this is going to be the next car entered. But in this case, in the case of the Bentley, I keep thinking that they're already in the fleet, but it turns out they're not. So I think part of it is maybe I'm just remembering buying the cars and don't remember whether or not they're in the fleet or still in storage. So somewhere in storage, there's another Koenigsegg, I believe it's called a Jesco, that's in there. But regardless, there is not, there's no Koenigsegg Gemera in there right now. So we are going to crack this open, take a look at it, and this supercar is going to be the next entrant into the fleet. All right, let's see how much this weighs. The Koenigsegg Gemera seems like heavier towards the back end of the car. Comes in at 36.2 grams, so it's not the heaviest car that we've had today, but it is not the lightest by far. That honor goes to the Citroen Ami. But let's go ahead and take a closer look at this one, this Koenigsegg. And this is another car that I like the shape, the profile. All of that suggests that it should do well on the track. I like the color. I like the that they put the little details on the headlights, something that they don't always tend to do. But I like that. Now, when we look at the back end, it's a little rounded. And if it was flat, I think I would have higher hopes for this car. But yeah, it's a little, I don't know, because when the back end is rounded, you're not really sure when it's rounded, when it's pointed, when there's some kind of wing or pipe or something sticking out. You're never really sure what kind of launch it's going to get. So maybe this gets a great launch. Maybe it doesn't, but I got to put it in. Check the spelling. Koenigsegg. Koenigsegg. Gemera. All right. We have that. Okay. And we've got another pick. So Never Ending has put his pick in. We'll take a look at that. Let me just grab the still picture here. And we will go here, lock this in, and zoom in a bit. And that looks pretty good. Got that car. Good, nice 3/4 view. And turn it just a little. And there we go. Car number 799. The Koenigsegg. Did I spell it right? Koenigsegg. Koenigsegg Gemera. And what's the manufacturing year? It's 2021. And we are just about good to go. We are going to now check and see which car it is that that Never Ending picked. Double check. 2021. All right. Let's go here. And his car is 426. 426. Scrolling down. I mean, there is every type of car represented here. And there are many, 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 many more. And that's it's a good thing. I mean, with Hot Wheels, you know, they're cheap. It's still, compared to everything, I know prices are going up on things, but still Hot Wheels are cheap. So it's a good, if you're gonna have a hobby, best to have one that's affordable. A few weeks ago, somebody had asked me what my favorite Hot Wheels car was, and I couldn't remember the name. I know the look of it, and I think it's because the name is not on the bottom of the car, and I've had it since I was a kid, and it's actually this one, the Torino Stalker, and it's one I had when I was little, and I have the original one. This is I guess I had two. I have one that's the gold Hot Ones version with the nickel-plated axle and the gold wheels, and it may also be in the fleet, because that's the one time I don't mind duplicates, is if the wheels are different. And in the case of the gold Hot Ones cars, the axles are nickel-plated, which makes them spin faster and a little more freely. Let's see, 426. There we go. Okay, and here we go. This is the C7 Z06 Corvette, and again, it's another smart pick because based on everything we've seen, if you take a look at the Blitz Speeder, if you take a look at the Gazella, the Aston Martin, the Nerve Hammer, the cars that have performed well recently have a similar kind of profile. And so even though this car is based on an actual car, it still has that kind of sleek line with the windshield at that angle where it kind of comes up, goes right into the hood, and then smooths out right down the back. Now I'm taking a look at the end. It looks a little curved on the back, but I'm going to go pull these cars, and let me write down the number because I have a few different cars to go pull today. 426, 169, and 241. So I am going to go and pull those cars. We will come back. We'll take a look at all of those, and then we will be ready to hit the track. So let's again, I don't have any other sort of interim music. It's going to be the bathroom break. It's the countdown. The clock's going to say 5 minutes. It should not take me more than a couple minutes to find these cars. It's not going to take me 5 minutes, but I will go find the cars, and I will be right back. We'll take a look at the cars, and then we'll hit the track. Here we go. All right, I am back. I have pulled those cars, and we are going to check them out. And so first up, we'll take a look at Never Ending at this Corvette. And I'm going to check the weight on this one. The weight is 34 grams, so it's right in that the sweet spot of what we want to see from the cars. Usually anywhere from 32 to 36 grams is what we're looking for ideally. So we have this car. Most importantly, we want to see what the back end looks like, which we don't have to wait for it to come all the way around. So it's got a bit of a curve, but I don't know that it's that. I don't think it's going to prevent the car from getting a good launch. It might not get the most consistent launches, but it's not terrible. So if we look at it here, try to get a better view, and you can basically see how much of the car will be touching the launching block. So it's really just that middle part of the back end there, right this part right here is going to be touching the block. So we'll see how that works out. And move some of these cars out of the way. And next up, let's take a look at the nerve hammer. And I believe this was this Mustard's pick? So we've got the nerve hammer, or was this, yeah, this is Mustard's pick. He picked the nerve hammer, the ones the kids dubbed the Kobe car. And this is, I mean, if we take a look at the Gazella, put that right beside it. Obviously, they're not identical, but you can see the similarities in terms of the kind of the overall profile. If we look at the back end, then it does have the wing. And let me stop this from moving for a second. Question is so the wing appears to stick out beyond the back end just enough that it looks like the wing is going to be the part of the car that is touching the launching block. And like with the Gazella and like with the Blitz Speeder, we've got this elevated wing that's sort of right at the roof line. This roof kind of pitches up, so, but more or less it's at a good height. So we'll see what happens with the nerve hammer. A very popular pick always. And did I check? Let's see the weight. I may have said it already. 34.5 grams. So another one that's right in that sweet spot in terms of the weight. And then last but not least, we have this Aston Martin, which comes in at 29.1 grams. So this was that lighter than the Citroen? It may have been. Let me see. The Citroen is 30.2 grams. So interestingly enough, the Aston Martin is the lighter of these two cars. That's interesting, but we will see how they perform. But this is another solid pick. We're looking at the wing right in line with the roof. A little bit, it's elevated either at above the roof line right there. Sort of like with the Bentley. The question is, with these points on the wing, are these points going to be the exact width of the launching block? Or if this wing is wider than the launching block will sit right in here. And that would be best, I think, for this car. If the launching block is pressing right up against this wing, firing it out, because again, we're looking at comparing the profiles, and while they're not identical, you can see some similarities. And I think we're going to have some good races, because each of the viewer picks have similar qualities to our champion, the Gazella R. But only one car will make it to race the Gazella R today. And which car will emerge, I have no idea, but I'm excited to find out. And we are about to hit the track. And just in case you are viewing this at some time in the future, or you've never seen an all about aerodynamics at the track live race, this is what you are going to be seeing when we get to the track. You are going to be seeing our 3-camera track view. The cars will start in the screen on the left at the top. The launcher is there. I will give a countdown. 3, 2, 1, race. The cars will come firing out of the launcher. They will come from the top of the screen toward the bottom. They will pass out of the bottom of the screen on the left. They will show up at the top of the screen in the middle, the center section of our track. They will pass from top to bottom, passing out of the bottom of the screen in the middle, showing up at the top of the screen on the right, and they will come flying down the track, and they will cross our finish line, and the winning car will be indicated with a solid red light. The losing car will be indicated with a flashing red light. And the cars will switch lanes between races. And if a car flies off of the track and crashes, then we will throw out the results of that race and reset the cars and race again. If a car crashes twice consecutively, it is disqualified, and that is it. That is it. If a car crashes twice consecutively in exactly the same way, there's usually some problem that is not going to be resolved by just re-racing the cars over and over again. And that is that. We are good to go. I am going to gather up the rest of these cars and head on over to the track, and I will see you over there in 30 seconds. Alright, let me just double check the audio. Make sure everything's working there. 1, 2, 1, 2. Yep, we've got audio, we've got cars, we've got a racetrack. It is time to go ahead and do this. I checked the track earlier, made sure that we weren't having any issues with the tripods that the cameras are on. But with some of these cars with the bigger wings, I'm going to have to check and keep a closer eye on them to make sure that they are not touching the tripods on the way down. But let's see, we have quite the assortment. We've got the Citroen Ami, we've got the Aston Martin, we've got the Bentley, the Koenigsegg, the Corvette, the other Corvette, the Nerve Hammer, and our champ will await the winner. I think we're going to start off going Corvette versus Corvette. So we're going to take Never Ending's C7 Corvette against the Gas Monkey Garage 68 Corvette, and that will be our first race. So let's get these cars lined up, set up here, and we are going to see which car is going to represent for the Corvettes in the next round. We've got the Gas Monkey Garage 68 Custom Corvette in lane 2, and the Corvette C7 Zo6, the never-ending pick, is going to be in lane number 2. Gas Monkey 68 Corvettes in lane 1, and the Zo6 is in lane 2. And as we discussed, the Zo6 just has that small point at kind of the apex of the curve at the of its wing, touching the launching block, where the Gas Monkey Garage Corvette, the whole back end is flat and pressed up against the launcher. But we're going to see what happens. So Gas Monkey Garage Corvette, lane 1, C7 Corvette in lane 2. Here we go, race 1. 3, 2, 1, race. Never ending. All right. The C7 took out the Gas Monkey Garage Corvette in the first race. We are going to switch lanes and see if it can repeat that performance and move on to the next round. Let's see. All right. We're going to switch lanes cars came out. They looked pretty good in that run. C7 in lane 1, Gas Monkey in lane 2, and this is race number 2. Here we go. Gas Monkey lane 2, C7 lane 1. Three, two, one, race. Woo-hoo. That one was much closer, but as you can see from the solid red light, Never Ending's Corvette took the race and will be moving on. Never Ending, never losing. All right, there we go. So we have our first race done, and let's go next. Let's have, we'll take the Nerve Hammer. We'll take Mustard's Nerve Hammer against the Koenigsegg. So we've got the Koenigsegg Gemera against the Kobe Nerve Hammer, and we will see how this all plays out. We've got the Koenigsegg set up in lane 1. We have the Kobe car in lane 2. Cars are lined up, ready to go. Kobe lane 2, Koenigsegg lane 1. Here we go. Three, two, one, race. Woohoo! We're having some close races today, but Kobe pulled it out at the buzzer, just right at the end. So that was a good, solid race. These cars are looking good, looking quick down the track, coming out with a lot of force. And as I mentioned before, you can kind of tell how much force, how much speed these cars are coming out with, because they'll hit the barrier. And so the barrier at the end, there's a memory foam barrier that I put together. They hit that, and then it's the same thing, the equal and opposite reaction, and then they bounce back down the track. And you can see that the Kobe car came almost all the way back to the start position. The Gazella kind of routinely makes it all the way back, so it just goes to show how much force and speed these cars are coming out with. So let's switch lanes, and we are going to see if Mustard can make a clean sweep here with the Kobe car, or if this Koenigsegg is going to make it so that we need a third final and decisive race. Here we go. This is race number 2. We've got the Kobe car in lane 1. We've got the Koenigsegg in lane 2. Three, two, one, race. Woo. Leaving no doubt and coming all the way. Oh, look at that. The Kobe car came all the way back to the start position. It won the race. It will be moving on. So far, we have been seeing that the viewers know better than the just sort of the random selection that happens when the cars get plucked out of the storage. So we now have two cars. So far, we have the Kobe Nerve Hammer, and we have the Corvette. So now we're going to see if we can go 3 for 3, if Roughshod's Aston Martin can take out the Bentley Continental, the two cars with the big wings. So we will line these cars up, and I'm going to put the Bentley in lane 1. And if it will stay in position, the Bentley was the heaviest car of the of today's picks, so I don't know that that's going to help it. And then the Aston Martin. So we were talking about the wing, and in the case of both of these cars, the wing is a little wider than the launching block. So that means that the launching block is actually only pushing against the middle flat part of the wing, which is good for both of these cars. So we'll see what how this race turns out. We've got the Aston Martin in lane 2. We've got the Bentley Continental in lane 1. Here we go. Three, two, one, race. Ooh, that one was close, right down to the wire, and the Aston was in the lead. It was in the lead until like around the last third of the track, and then it got caught. And if I'm not mistaken, I think last week, I think that happened to Roughshod's pick last week, that it was in the lead until like the last part of the track, and then it got caught. So we are going to be switching lanes and seeing if the Aston Martin can force a third and decisive race. Otherwise, we will be moving on to check out which cars are going to inch closer to taking on the Gazella. All right, so let's see. We've got this Aston Martin lined up in lane 1. We have the Bentley lined up in lane 2. Bentley lane 2, Aston Martin lane 1. Here we go. Three, two, one, race. And the Bentley took it. The Bentley, it doesn't get off to the best starts, but it seemed to gain speed. Like right around the halfway mark, it started to pick up speed, or the Aston Martin, for whatever reason, started to lose speed. Either way, the Bentley made its move and took that race. So now the Bentley is moving on. We have the Corvette. We have the Corvette C7 Zo6. I think that's what it was. C7 Zo6. Never-ending pick. We've got Mustard's Kobe car. We've got the Bentley Continental. But the car that we haven't raced yet is the Citroen Ami. Either way, it's going in. It's coming up next. Is it going to be a sleeper? We're going to go Citroen versus, let's go heaviest versus lightest. It'll be Citroen versus the Bentley. So, get these cars lined up. The Bentley will be in lane number 1. Weighing in, I forget how much exactly it weighed. Maybe 38 grams, maybe more. But it was definitely the heaviest. And then the Citroen Ami is so narrow. I've got to get this thing in here just right. This is going to be a wild race, presuming it can stay on the track, because we don't know that yet. All right. Citroen Ami is in lane 2. We have the Bentley in lane 1. And here we go. 3, 2, 1, race. Okay, so the Bentley flew off down the track and did its thing. The Ami got stuck in the launching block. So it turns out that the top of this car is too tall. The car is too tall to use the standard acrylic cover, so I'm going to have to use the one that I use for trucks. So let me go grab the Bentley, which ended the race and then decided to crash. Let me grab that and then come back and adjust everything there. All right, so who knew? So yeah, the Citroen just jammed up inside the launcher. But now the problem that it's going to have is that when I put on this taller acrylic cover, it's good for tall cars, but it's not good for the car that is shorter. And the other problem is that the Citroen was just barely too tall to use the standard cover. So when I switch to this truck cover, what's going to happen is it's going to fly up in the air, then it's going to hit the cover and come down. But because it's so small, such a short car, small car, it's going to fly up pretty high. So it'll depend on whether or not it can correct itself after it launches, after it flies up, hits the top of the acrylic cover and comes down. So let me get it lined up again. We've got the Bentley in lane 1, the Citroen, come on, stay in place. Doesn't want to stay in place. And also it's a matchbox, it's got that working against it. So it's not a lot working in favor of the Citroen. So here we go. All right, Citroen Ami is in lane 2. Bentley Continental is in lane 1. Race number 1. Here we go. 3, 2, 1, race. And the Citroen flew up, hit the barrier, bounced off the track, and didn't even make it. It made it maybe 2 feet out of the launching block. And this is always the fear and the problem with cars like this that are so light and so small and narrow that you just don't have faith that they're going to be able to stay on the track. And there's so many things working against them. Are they going to be too light and fly off the track? Are they going to be too narrow and bounce around the track? There's just so many different things that can happen with these smaller cars. And if this Citroen, if it can't stay on the track this next time, then it will be disqualified and we will be moving on. But I hope that it gets a good launch. But I'm not hopeful that it will get a good launch. So let me get it back in here again, lined up. The Bentley has been looking strong, and it's had a couple of test hits. We had the one where the Citroen got stuck, and then the second one where the Citroen crashed. So we're going to line them up again. If the Citroen crashes, it's disqualified, and the Bentley will be moving on. So the Bentley's in lane 1, Citroen is in lane 2. Race 1. Here we go. 3, 2, 1, race. So the Citroen made it down the track, sorta. Well, not sorta. It made it down the track, but it was wobbling and bouncing back and forth the whole time, which is something that's expected of cars that are narrow. It was just basically just bouncing back and forth the whole time, side to side. Newton's third law of motion, and it came into effect with this car, but at least it made it down the track. So that's a plus, I guess. Not I guess, it is. And then let's switch lanes and see if it makes a difference. I can't imagine that it will, because that was probably the best representation of a good launch that the Citroen is going to get. And it got a good push, and it just couldn't stay straight on the track. And whatever's going on with the matchbox wheels and axles, that's not helping either. But here we go. Race number 2. Citroen's in lane 1. Bentley's in lane 2. Race 2. Here we go. 3, 2, 1, race. Citroen got a similar kind of launch and push. It wobbled its way down the track and made it across the finish line, but not in enough time to defeat the Bentley. So the Bentley moves on, and we are now down to the Nerve Hammer, the Corvette, and the Bentley. and we will see which of these cars is going to be the one to take on the Gazella R. So we will, since the Bentley's hot right now, we'll go Bentley versus the Corvette and see what's going on here. So we've got, let's see here, the Corvette lining up, and we'll put the Corvette in lane 1. We will put the Bentley in lane 2. If I can get it to stay put. Bentley, come on, stay put. All right, Bentley's in lane 2. Corvette is in lane 1. We will see if we are going to have a all viewer pick final or not. But this is race 1. Bentley lane 2, Corvette lane 1. Here we go. Three, two, one, race. Oh. Well, I guess it would have helped if I'd remembered to remove the Citroen from the track. The Corvette was well out in the lead, and then all of a sudden I heard a noise, and the noise was the Corvette slamming into the Citroen, which was still hanging out on the track following that last race. So let me pick that up, and we will reset these cars. Oops. Guess I should have noticed that, but I didn't. All right, so let me put the Citroen over here with the losing cars. Go back and grab the Bentley. Bentley out of lane 2 was definitely behind Never Ending's Corvette, but we will get them lined up again and see if we can get a race. The track is actually cleared, and we are ready to go. So the Bentley, once again, is in lane 2, and Never Ending's Corvette is in lane 1. We are ready to go. Race 1. Here we go. Three, two, one, race. Ooh. Whoa, the Corvette pulled it out at the end. It was behind going into the last third section of the track, but it pulled it out. So let's see. We have the Bentley. Did well, stayed ahead, but could it be, we'd have to run more races, but if I just had to guess, I would say that the weight of the Bentley doesn't tend to necessarily work in its favor when it's racing a faster car. And we saw that the Bentley did have a good lead, but it lost that lead at the end. And it's not as though these cars will pick up speed. It's really because there's no engine, so they're not going to pick up speed, but other cars are going to slow down. So what are the factors and forces that cause one car to slow down while the other car continues to slow down at a slower rate? And that's when all those aerodynamic factors come into play. So we have the Bentley over in lane 1. We have the Corvette in lane 2. Is Never Ending's Corvette going to be moving on? We will find out. Here we go. Three, two, one, race. Same, different side, different lane, same result. The Bentley was ahead until like that last third of the track, and then the Corvette just moved right on past it. So the Bentley, if this track were about 3 or 4 feet shorter, would have taken that. But the track is not. It is the 1/64th scale quarter-mile drag strip, and we are looking at a final matchup between the C7 Corvette and Mustard's Kobe car. So we've got the Kobe Nerve Hammer versus the Corvette. This is the finals. This is going to determine who takes on the Gazella for the fastest in fleet title. And I'm going to pull these cards back. I like that. That Bentley performed well. It's just it couldn't get past the fact that it's as heavy as it is. All right, so we're putting Mustard's Kobe car, the Nerve Hammer, in lane 1. We're putting the Corvette C7 Zo6, Never Ending's pick, in lane 2. This is race 1. This is the finals. Here we go. Three, 2, 1, race. Oh, that Corvette. Yeah, unless the Nerve Hammer got some kind of bad jump and bad start, that Corvette looked extremely fast in that race. And could we possibly find a car that is going to challenge the Gazella? I don't know. It's going to need one more win before that happens. So we're going to switch lanes. We're going to put the Nerve Hammer in lane 2. And this Corvette in lane 1. Get the Corvette lined up there in lane 1. And we've got the Nerve Hammer set up in lane 2. We are good to go. This is race number 2. If the Corvette takes it, it's our champion, and it's going on to face the Gazella for the fastest in fleet title. If the Nerve Hammer wins, then we will have one more race. So here we go. Race number 2. Nerve Hammer, lane 2. Corvette, lane 1. Three, 2, 1, race. The Corvette took it with ease. The Nerve Hammer had some speed and some force. It's bounced nearly all the way back to the start line. But this Corvette, Never Ending's Corvette, is our champion for today. And now it is going to take on the massive challenge that is the Gazella R. So we will set these cars up, and we will see what happens. Can the Gazella be dethroned? Did Never Ending find the car? Did he find, does this Corvette have the formula? Does it have what it takes to beat the Gazella R? It's looked fast. These last 2 races, the Corvette has looked extremely fast. But we will find out what that all means when it takes on the Gazella R right now. So we've got the Gazella R in lane 1. We've got the Corvette in lane 2. This is for the fastest in fleet title. No jokes here. This is it. We're going to find out. Corvette, lane 2. Gazella R, lane 1. Here we go. Three, 2, 1, race. I mean, the Corvette's fast, but the Gazella R is just on another level. So the Gazella R took that with ease, and we will switch lanes and find out if the Corvette can come back and take 2 races in a row from the Gazella. That's tough. You put yourself in a hole by losing that first race. But it has happened where cars have come back from a deficit to win. So we will see here. We've got the Corvette in lane 1. We have the Gazella R in lane 2. And this is it for the fastest in fleet title. If the Gazella takes it, Gazella stays on top. And if the Corvette wins, then we will be going to a 3rd and final race. So here we go. Race number 2. Gazella lane 2, Corvette lane 1. 3, 2, 1, race. And the Gazella takes it and is coming all the way back to the starting block with a little bit of force. Corvette made it part of the way back. Gave it it had a decent performance, but you can't fault a car for not beating the Gazella. That's just, that can't be. It's like saying that, well, you're not Michael Jordan or LeBron James or Kobe, so you're no good. That's not the case. But let me grab these cars, head back in the garage, take a look at the winners, the losers, and what's coming up. So I think we've seen that if you are going to try and beat the Gazella, I don't know. I thought that all of today's picks, I thought that they were all solid picks, and for as far as I'm concerned, there was good reason. Like, I understood why those cars got picked, and ultimately they're going to knock each other off before they get to the Gazella. But that Corvette, the Corvette was doing well, and so was the Bentley. I think I was surprised most by the Bentley's performance because it was a heavier car, and heavy cars don't tend to do as well. But ultimately, we started to see with the Bentley what we see with heavier cars is that toward the back end of the track, they start to slow down and they get past. And when you're just watching the races, it looks like the other car picked up speed and passed it, which isn't the case. Again, like I was saying, the cars don't have motors, so the car's not going to pick up speed. In fact, unlike a gravity track, with a gravity track, the cars will pick up speed because gravity is the force that's pulling on the cars and causing them to increase their speed. But on this flat track, once they fly out of the launcher, it's just a matter of forces working against those cars to slow them down. So there's drag, you have the friction of the wheels, and whether or not it's rubbing up against the side of the track, then you have drag with the air, and so with the heavier cars, they just start to slow down toward the back end, and they get past, and that is what happened with the Bentley, and it's what happened. It's why the Corvette looked like it was picking up speed, passing the Bentley. Then we get to with the Citroen Ami. It had a whole other set of problems. So first of all, it was the smallest and lightest car, but it was too tall. So it's small and light, but then it was so tall, just a little bit too tall enough that it had to I had to use the taller acrylic cover, which I usually use for trucks, and particularly like character cars usually need those. So that became a problem because this car, it jumped up, hit the acrylic cover, stayed on the track. It crashed once, but the other two times it stayed on the track. But the problem that it ran into was that it started to bounce back and forth. It was so small, the force came out, the launch, it was just bouncing back and forth the whole time. And then whatever's going on with the Matchbox wheels and axles, it's hard for the Matchbox cars to compete. We had one a couple of weeks ago that it did decently, but it wasn't anything that made us say, oh wow, what about that? Let's see. Never Ending is asking a question here. The Cockney Cab. Okay. Let's see. I believe so. Let me check. Cockney Cab. Let's see. Number 18. 18. Cockney Cab right here. So Never Ending saying this is the fastest on his track. Are you using a launcher or a gravity track? Which are you using? And while you answer that, let me go pull that. I think we've got a little time. We can have a bonus race. I will pull that. Let's see. We have this here, the Cockney Cab, and let's go ahead and take a look at this one that Never Ending was asking about. So let's first see how much it weighs. Oh, okay, so Never Ending says here, gravity track. The two Rainbow Road tracks put together is one. Oh wow, okay, so that's pretty big. So let's see, Cockney Cab. See what it weighs here. 35.6 grams, and we take a look at this. Now these pipes coming out of the top, I don't know because none of the students have picked this car before. These pipes coming out of the top, I'm gonna have to see whether or not, hopefully they're not sticking out so wide that they prevent this car from getting in the launch channel. If so, then I'll have to buy another Cockney Cab, cut these off, and so that it can fit, because that's the only time I modify cars, is to make them fit. But since we've got a little time, I'll head back over to the track and we'll see how the Cockney Cab performs. It's going to take on the Gazella. It gets to jump to the front of the line. We'll have a bonus race. It's going to be Cockney Cab versus the Gazella. Again, the Cockney Cab weighs in at 35.7 grams, so it's still right in the range. The Gazella is 32.2. So I'm going to hit this. I'll be back over at the track in 30 seconds, and we'll see if the Cockney Cab can get the job done. Alright, we're about to have a special bonus race. It's the Cockney Cab versus the Gazella. And first I've got to check to make sure that the Cockney Cab can fit in the launcher. So let's check that out. I'm hoping it does, because I hate having to modify cars. It fits in. It just barely fits in. Okay, it's got clearance on both sides, so it's good. Cockney Cab's in lane 2. We have the Gazella R in lane 1, and the Cockney Cab is the fastest car on Never Ending's track. We're going to see if it can be the fastest car here. So Cockney Cab is in lane 2, the Gazella R is in lane 1, ready to go. Race 1, here we go. Three, two, one, race. And the Cockney Cab had a similar issue to what happened with the Citroen Ami. Is that it's got this little ridge on the top of the car that basically makes it too tall. So I'm going to have to switch out the acrylic covers and put the taller cover in there, and we will see if that affects the the launch that the Gazella gets, and if it helps keep the Cockney Cab on the track. So Cockney Cab is lined up again in lane number 2. The Gazella R is lined up in lane 1. We've got the taller cover. Race 1, here we go. Three, 2, 1, race. And the Cockney Cab was decent. I'd say it was probably in the range that the Corvette was in terms of speed, because it lost by about the same margin that Corvette lost by. But we're going to switch lanes and see if the Cockney Cab can have a comeback against the Gazella. Put the Gazella in lane 1 and put the Cockney Cab in lane, the Cockney Cab in lane 1. The Gazella is now in lane 2. And we're ready to go. Race number 2, Cockney Cab in lane 1, Gazella in lane 2. Here we go. 3, 2, 1, race. And the Gazella's coming all the way back, slamming into the starting block. So the Gazella took that one with ease, and I'm going to grab these two cars, head back into the garage, and we're going to take a look at something. Okay, so the Gazella took that with ease. Here's my question. If Never Ending, do you have a Gazella? Because I would like to know how it performs on your track. If on a gravity track, if the Gazella is still that dominant and has that much as much speed as it does on our flat track. And if you don't, the good thing is maybe you can pick one up, because I just got the Gazella. It was in a 2-pack at this store, Five Below. And if it's not that, then I've seen in Target where they have those 5-packs of cars that have, it'll be like the Highway series, or they have different themes. It might be a car that you can just pick up still in the store for like regular price, $1.25. But yeah, I'd be interested to see how the Gazella performs on a gravity track. We know how it performs on a flat drag track, but I'm curious about how it performs. I have that 6-lane gravity track raceway thing, but I haven't put anything on it to extend it and make it longer, so it's pretty short. I mean, how long is it? It's maybe 6 feet, I don't know. But that really doesn't tell me as much, and plus I don't really have room to set that track up. So if anybody's out there who has a gravity track set up and does gravity track racing, I'd be curious how the Gazella, and it's the Gazella R. It is not, I think there's another Gazella, but this one is the oh, okay, perfect. See, so don't even have to wonder. Never Ending says he has the silver and orange one, and it lost in a 4-race circuit. Okay, so it just goes to show that there are, I knew that there were differences, because the things that you're looking for from a gravity track car are going to be different than what you're looking for on our track. And he says it got second place. So the Gazella R, so I guess a fast car is a fast car. It didn't win on the gravity track, but he says it got second place, so that's not bad. But I think, especially, like I said, with our track, because it's a flat track, because it's because it's flat, cars come out of the launcher, and whatever speed they're going to get at the beginning, and from there, it's just going to be a decline. Whereas on a gravity track, they'll start off slower, and depending on the angle of the gravity track, if it's steeper, then they'll gain speed as the race proceeds. With ours, it's the opposite. They lose speed as they get towards the end, and the heavier cars, I'm telling you that the gravity is working against them. There's friction and drag, and those are the main things. Let's see. No, I don't mind you promoting. In fact, I'm gonna go and watch the videos after we wrap up here. So let's see. Never ending. All right. What is your channel? And then I can just type it in the chat, and then I can put it up there. But yeah, it's interesting. And usually what I do is I'm always going on YouTube and looking for gravity track races, and just trying to find out which cars are faster. And so far it hasn't really translated. Like, the gravity track winning cars are not necessarily cars that do well on our track, but I still want to compare those cars. And okay, so Never Ending Adventures Beyond, if you want to see some gravity track Hot Wheels racing, I will be checking that out after we wrap up here. And yeah, always looking and trying to figure out which cars are faster. And I'll go into the comment section, because usually on videos there will be people in comment section who say, hey, have you tried this car? This car is fastest on my track. They might not have a YouTube channel, but they race the Hot Wheels cars, and hey, try the Alfa Romeo P36 or whatever it might be. Try out the Rally Spectacle or whatever. So, I'm always looking. So I will be checking out Never Ending Adventures Beyond and trying to see how this Gazella R actually did on the gravity track. But for us here at AtTheTrack.live, the Gazella R is extremely dominant. I keep saying that I need to make the calculations to figure out when this car gets to week 17 of being champion. I am going to bring back the Blitz Speeder, and the Blitz Speeder is going to have a rematch and a shot to regain its title. We did that with the Blitz Speeder and the what was that car? The Draftnator. The Blitz Speeder and the Draftnator. After the Blitz Speeder was becoming dominant, we let the Draftnator have a rematch, and the Blitz Speeder beat it again to just emphasize that it was the fastest car, which it was until the Gazella R showed up. So we had some good races, some interesting results, and sorry, the Citroen Ami just couldn't get the job done. It didn't seem to perform any better on our track than it performs in real life. And if you look on YouTube, there's a bunch of reviews for the Citroen Ami, AMI, and you can see it's almost, to call it a car, I think wherever it is in Europe, whatever cities it's allowed to be in, I don't even know that it's classified as a car. It's classified as whatever, like in that sort of golf cart thing, but like it's allowed to be on the street, but you can't go on the highways or freeways or anything like that. So anyway, if you want to check out a weird little car, the Citroen Ami, you can check that out anywhere on YouTube. Just search for that. But at the Track Live, we are still looking for a car to beat out and really challenge and push the Gazella R. We didn't find it today, but we had some good races, and we will be back here next week with more races. If there is, if you're not already, you can follow us at AA Aerodynamics on Instagram. And any information you want about the science course, all about aerodynamics, the links are in the bio. And I'm going to be posting some things there. Hopefully by next week. Next week's a little ambitious, but maybe the week after that. Hopefully I'll have the wind tunnel, and we can go through that and see how that works out. I might even just do a special go live, and just when I get it, an unboxing and put it together and see how it works, if it works, and if it will really tell us why. Maybe we'll use that and be able to see why this Gazella R is as fast and dominant as it is. So that's what's coming up in the future. I will be here next Saturday at 11 a.m. Pacific time. You can always watch old episodes on our YouTube channel. Just go to the live tab. Everything's listed. I add in time codes. This episode will be up there. It'll be up there immediately, but the time codes will be added later this afternoon. So, yeah, great races. Thank you for watching. And I am Coach James for AtTheTrack.live. And until next time, I will see you at the races.